let me ask you this. So, USC a big part into who you are today professionally?
USC?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely say so. Yeah, I got the internship at Team Downey because I'd had a screenwriting class with someone the year before who reached out to me, and that was kind of what led to being here. So yeah, a little over 11 years now.
Evan, talk about that internship. How does it morph into what you're doing right now?
It was just meeting people. I think really starting to do coverage there at the company, meet the executives at the time. I think my taste really grew with the company and vice versa.
Right.
Because it was about, I think, 2 years old at that time. So really just kind of getting a feel for the actual business, kind of learning what Susan and Robert really responded to, things like that, and then just kind of kept getting told to come back and grow from there.
Is it kind of proving yourself in an internship where you get their trust to that level, right? Because I mean, we're gonna get to Sweet Tooth in a moment. Wonderful
Yeah.
show. So is
Thank you.
it about putting your time and getting your trust with them, and then them seeing that you're on the same page? Is it about acquiring that over time?
I think so. I think it's definitely a bit of that, and I think even as great as USC was in the film school program, and I started as a theater major and then did a screenwriting minor, but I think it's such a unique industry that it's always going to be trial by fire, the first real job you get, So I
Right,
think a
right.
lot of it is learning the ins and outs of the industry, and I think every company is going to have its specific wants and needs. Every actor, every director, all that stuff. So I think being a talent-driven company, specifically like Team Downey it's definitely learning the kinds of movies that Robert likes, that Susan likes, and trying to figure out what they aspire to do creatively now that they're at the top and wanting to do things that they really feel passionate about and want to put out into the world.
That's a great answer. Evan, I've done over 400 interviews. I think I know my movies. I think I know my shows. I probably wake up every day of the week having a different definition for what a producer is. Could you once and for all, in your words, tell me what a producer is? Because I feel like I have variations of what it could be, and I feel like on different projects it does change the definition, right?
Mm-hmm.
Evan,
Totally.
tell me, let's just say Sweet Tooth, what your role as a producer is, what you do. I have a feeling I know, but coming from your mouth would probably be better.
Yeah, of course. It's from our perspective, I think we always view producing as supporting the creator's vision. And like you said, that can vary wildly from project to project. For us on Sweet Tooth, it was really we read the graphic novels. We thought they were really incredible. Saw an opportunity to do something that felt very new within the post-apocalyptic space once we partnered with Jim Mickle and just all agreed that we didn't want to do something that felt like the bleak kind of gray tone worlds that we'd seen before. When we first started discussing the project, it was in the height of Walking Dead and The Leftovers, and as great as those shows were, we felt like there was a real opportunity with Sweet Tooth because Jeff's graphic novels were so driven by Gus's hope and optimism at the end of the day, and we felt like there was something that we could do that could be viewed by the whole family, but not talked down to a younger audience. We wanted to do something that I think we all grew up loving, and wanted to aspire to make something that felt like it could combine all these different aspects of genres, but do it in a way that the whole family could watch. So for Sweet Tooth specifically, it was really, supporting Jim, kind of, I think, pushing him and pulling him where he needed to really kind of bring things to the surface. I think we all creatively saw the same show, which I think is really critical, and just helping him being like, what was your intention here? Okay, that's not, totally coming to the surface. What can we adjust? What can we change? And
Right.
I think really working with Jim and Linda and Warner Brothers and Netflix to just build out the supporting players, from the technical HODs to the cast to the boots on the ground crew. And I think everything just kind of came together in a really wonderful and magical way in New Zealand.
Yeah, and we're going to get into that in a second, but you're right about that. And that's one of the things that makes this work, because it's like Stranger Things in that way, not in plot or anything else, but in the way that it applies to age ranges, right? You could be 10 and appreciate this, and you can be 70 and appreciate it, because there's times where this show does have a it knows how to use it. A touch of it does have a touch of a little bit of that Walking Dead, maybe not the leftovers, but certainly a little bit of that Walking Dead. But it also has that hope. It has that it makes you want to keep coming back. Like that's the way it uses those things. Evan, I feel like is awesome, and the fact that all age ranges can watch it makes it doubly awesome, right?
Yeah, that was something we talked about, especially with Netflix a lot. We wanted it to be something that younger audience could have an aspirational quality to, because having that flirting with danger and flirting with the horror a little bit. We talked a lot, Susan and Amanda both have younger kids, so I think they felt really in tune with knowing that younger audiences want to feel older, want to see an slightly older character that gets into dangerous and fun situations. And then I think the rest of us just wanted something that, we would all be proud of and want to watch at the end of the day. And then something that, to your point, parents and grandparents could also watch together. I think one of the most gratifying things about Sweet Tooth is that we were able to get, anywhere from 8 to 80 and people saying like, I watched it with my parents, I watched it with my grandparents, people my age who said I watched it with my nieces and nephews and didn't feel like, oh, I have to watch this thing because my kids want to, or because my, younger families want to, but still feeling like it had something worthwhile on a story level, on a character level, on an acting level. All that stuff was very gratifying.
Watching something and loving it are two different things. And you're right. People watch it and
Totally.
love it. Yeah, I agree. So let me ask you this. Is Will Forte one of the most underrated actors on the planet? He's amazing in season 1. Like, I feel like he could do anything, and he's so underrated, and he's such a wonderful, wonderful actor.
I would agree 1000% with that sentiment. It's so funny. We struggled for a long time to find that puppet role. It was someone that we knew had to thread a really important needle, because it is someone that packs a huge punch in the pilot and then comes back later in the first season. And finding that person that could be really charming in a short amount of time, have the ability to work with a kid and really help propel that pilot into the rest of the first season, and someone that also you would just be devastated by when they passed away in at the end of the pilot. And finding that perfect person was Will Forte, far and away. And he was just such a joy on set. And when Jim met with him, we were a little bit worried. Oh, will he feel like he's done the post-apocalyptic space, with Last Man on Earth, even though very different show, and we all loved that one. But luckily he was so complimentary of Jim's writing when he read the pilot draft, and I think really got along with Jim when they met. And he was totally psyched to come down to New Zealand and was the best. I mean, he and Christian bonded really quickly, and I think he just in a really wonderful way set the tone for the set and what the show could be, and was just a joy to work with, and really, I think, helped elevate the pilot.
And talk about perfect casting. I mean, Christian, like, I can't picture anyone else. It's like The Walking Dead with Rick Grimes. Like, nobody else but Andrew Lincoln could play this part. Like, with Christian, no one else could play this part. You look at this kid, he was meant for this part. Like, that's how I feel about it when I watch the show.
We got so lucky with Christian. He, Carmen Cube, our casting director, who was incredible, also did the casting for Stranger Things. So she's no stranger to, no pun intended, to child acting and child actors. But she did a global search early on. We knew Christian, or we knew Gus was going to be one of, if not the most important role to cast. And she started very early. And Christian was actually in the first batch of kids that we saw.
Wow.
And so it was one of those things that was like, wow, this kid is amazing, but we're not going to find him right away. Like, let's keep searching, we'll pin him. And we just kept coming back to Christian, and finally brought him into Los Angeles for testing. And, he was just incredible. And his work ethic and his demeanor on set just really kind of imbued across the whole production. And I think he embodied so many of Gus's traits, and could not do it without him, and can't imagine anyone else in that role.
One last observation about Sweet Tooth. The backdrop of New Zealand is stunning. Like, I'm a big cinematography guy, and Sweet Tooth, as great as the characters and the story is, and the history behind the story, the way it looks is just impeccable. It's stunning. It's like you could pause it at any point in the show and hang that on your wall and be like, this is a painting. Like, it's that good. It's that beautiful.
It's hard to understate how much New Zealand meant to the production. I think both in terms of the geography, like you're saying, like you truly can point the camera anywhere and it's magical.
Right.
Particularly on the South Island, where we did a lot of the larger vistas, at the end of the pilot, and some of the traveling shots, especially in the first season with Gus and Jeopard. And it's so beautiful down there and has epic scenery. The light just hits it in a different way, truly. And I think we really wanted to use local DPs who knew how to light with that very specific sun. And all of our DPs were really fantastic on the show, especially Dave Garbett, who is the lead DP and just, would make stunning photographs every single day and make it seem easy and completely, effortless in a way. But yeah, I think in addition to the amazing scenery, just the crews down there, the art department, they just all fed into the show in a really wonderful way. And I think because they come from an island nation, they, I think, almost embodied in a big way the idea of environmentalism that plays throughout the show. I think they're very big on, loving nature, having work-life balance. So I think they just brought so much passion and empathy to the show that is inherently in Sweet Tooth. So I think just elevated the show in a way that a lot of other places wouldn't be able to.
Yeah. Sweet Tooth season 2, April 27th. Before I let you go, Evan, one last question. Because you are a part of Team Downey, I have to ask you, Robert, in your opinion, what is Robert's most impressive work, in your opinion, as an actor? For me, the movie The Judge was shot 30 minutes from my house. He was so freaking good in that. Wow. He should have been nominated for that movie. He was so good. But I mean, maybe I'm putting you in a bad spot here, because if you say one, I feel like but whatever you wanted to say, because I was just curious. You work with Team Downey, you're close, you're respected. I was curious how you viewed Robert as a talent, obviously favorably, but anything in particular in his filmography stand out for you?
I'll definitely do a bit of the cop out and name a few of my favorites.
Okay.
But to me, one of the movies that brought him back, that Susan also worked on, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, I think is one of his best. Yeah. I think just in terms of offbeat investigative sensibilities and being able to do what he does so well, of just showing a character think on screen, having the humor in there, having the humanity, also having really energetic stakes and stuff like that. I think that movie really stands above a lot of them. Zodiac is definitely one of my personal favorites. I just think he's so good. Like the scene in the bar, Jim and I would actually talk about a lot down on set in New Zealand, of just how good and funny he is in that one. And then, I mean, you have to go with Chaplin too. He just embodies that character so incredibly well. So yeah, I'd say those are probably top 3 that come to mind.
And those are 3 awesome answers. And he seems like behind the scenes, he's even better to deal with. I mean, you would answer that more than I could, but I feel like he's this guy in real life where he's just fun to work for, energetic, and you guys produce so many wonderful projects, including the one we talked about today. What a wonderful show, Evan.
Yeah, thank you so much. No, he's really great to work for. He and Susan, I think, really lead from a place of passion, and they've both been doing it for so long that I think feel very, very lucky to work with and for them. And I think just wanting to work on stuff that we all care about is something that really, vibes through the whole company, and I think is just a relief to feel like you care about what you do. And since we spend so much time doing it, and with people when we're in production, it's really fortunate.
Evan, thank you for taking time out of your schedule today. I really appreciate it. You're a fun talk.
Thank you.
For that. Take care of yourself, Evan.
Thanks so much.